Hey, I'm Adam, the administrator at Smellycraft.com. You can call me Smelly. Today, I want to walk you through the Biome Bundle. I'll assume a smaller bit of familiarity with it at times, because today we're going to talk about customizing it, and it's very, very overwhelming if you're just diving into that. So it's a selection of biomes that are generated and built specifically for the open terrain generator, and I'm going to show you how to get that plugin. First things first, this is actually a Forge plugin, so we'll go to curseforge.com. This tutorial, however, is designed for Spigot servers, and so is the plugin. It works on both. So Biome Bundle and Forge, Open Terrain Generator, were built for Forge. There are a lot of features that Open Terrain Generator has for Forge only, but we're not going to need any today. It's going to be just as amazing without them. Now, certain Forge clients that do run the Open Terrain Generator plugin will benefit additionally from colored foliage, colored water, colored fog, but I strongly, personally suspect that in the 1.13 update for Open Terrain Generator, they will probably just use the new vanilla behavior for that. And I suspect that in the upcoming version, you'll be able to run it on a pure Spigot server and Spigot client implementation. For now, I do run from a Forge client that does run Open Terrain Generator, so I can benefit from the additional colors in the settings, but either way, grab both of these jar files and I'll show you how to set them up now. We're going to head over to our folder structure, and just like any other jar file, you're going to install Open Terrain Generator in your plugins folder, and when you restart it should create this Open Terrain Generator folder. Now we head in there and we will see otg.ini, worlds, global objects, and global biomes. Now a quick word on that. Worlds will contain name-spaced folders for each world you intend to generate with Open Terrain Generator. Not necessarily all of your worlds, but every world you intend to generate with Open Terrain Generator needs to have a namespace in here. It doesn't necessarily need to, but if it has anything unique, this is where you put it. So I will put world biomes and world objects and a worldconfig.ini in each of those folders, but in the main space for Open Terrain Generator, there's a global folder. So if something isn't found in the world namespace, it'll resort to finally checking for it in these global files. And the reason you might want to use that is it's one location on the hard drive. If an object in your server keeps getting loaded and unloaded and loaded and unloaded as chunks are generated and ungenerated from the server, players are moving around, you want it to, for better garbage collection and better RAM performance and better CPU usage as well, just to have it look for the same file in the same place on the hard drive and possibly keep it in RAM as it has advanced garbage collection procedures that hopefully you put in your flags. So that's an advanced subject, and if it sounds like it's something you want to learn more about, go do that. But the long story short is just use global namespaces wherever you can in your plugins. OTG is no exception. So we're going to go into Biome Bundle, which would be empty in your installation, and I'm going to show you where I got those files from. It was from the Biome Bundle jar. Now, it does instruct you to install it as a Forge mod, because that is how this was designed to be used, and knowing MC Pittman and Lord Smellypants just a little bit, I understand that's their focus. They will be upgrading Forge to 1.13 before Spigot. So today we're going to do a 1.12 tutorial because we will be stuck with it for a little while. And we're going to go into the jar file. Now you'll notice I'm getting a little bit ahead of myself actually. I am not in the top folder. When you open the jar file, biomebundle.jar in a zip extractor, it will look like this. And all jar files can be opened as zip folders, is what they technically are. Open up Assets, World Packer, Biome Bundle, and these are the only files a Spigot administrator really wants. Drag those out into your custom Biome Bundle namespace here in the Open Terrain Generator /Worlds folder, and you're good to go. Once those folders and files are open, we're going to pop open worldconfig.ini, and here we are. We've opened worldconfig.ini from the Biome Bundle folder, and we're going to take a look at only a few of the settings here because it gets overwhelming. There's over 500 lines in the worldconfig.ini for most worlds. Biome Bundle is no exception. Let's take a look here at custom biomes. We have a long list with every single biome from the World Biomes folder. Now they don't have file extensions, but they do have IDs, and that's for internal use within Minecraft. There are reserved ranges of IDs that can't be used by anything but vanilla biomes, so if you're going to write your own biomes, make sure that you actually assign IDs to them that are not already taken or won't be ignored by the Minecraft client server. Down here we have another group, biome groups. And then we have some more groups, isle biomes and border biomes. Now, the first, third, and fourth groups that you see highlighted as green text by our text editor, those are registrations. You have to make sure that any file that gets queried by the world, whether it's a biome group or an island of a biome group, a border of a biome group, a river of a biome group, or anything therefore, you have to have it registered in this list. They all go there. In this list, all the BC files are treated equally. Now they begin to get different. Biome group is for the top level ones. So if it's an originating biome, if it is, for example, extreme hills, jungle, desert, those don't appear within other biomes. They stand on their own, and they would go in the normal biomes list. Biomes such as Desert M, Extreme Hills M, those are isle biomes from the vanilla generator that would be specified down here and up here. Anything from the isle biomes list or border biomes list has to be also included in the custom biomes list at the top. It's important to register them all in all of the relevant locations, and sometimes there's more than one space. Conversely, anything that comes along the edge of another biome that you intend to use has to be registered not only in the originating custom biomes list, but also as a border biome. So you will see some of those as well. Now today we're going to create the Snowy Mesa. So we have to do a text search for Snowy Mesa. And the reason I know to put Snowy Mesa as all one word is because that's how it appears in the title of the file name, snowymesa.bc. Some have spaces, some do not. So use your file and folder structure to be familiar. And what did I learn here? Well, I found several hints. It looks like there are 4 biomes in the custom biomes folder with Snowy Mesa in the file name, which means those are the only ones. They're all registered here to custom biomes. Snowy Mesa Rock, Snowy Mesa Edge, and Snowy Mesa Forest. Also, down here we see that 3 of those biomes are isle biomes, and one of them is a border biome, Snowy Mesa Edge. So that tells us, well, it's not in the normal biome group. Snowy Mesa is not an originating or top level biome in the Biome Bundle. Can it be? Yes. Every biome file has everything it needs to stand on its own as a complete world. So we're going to do that with Snowy Mesa. I want to open it up. Then I can drill down into my world biomes folder and open up Snowy Mesa.bc. And what do we see here? Once we open it up, we are going to see that this is an isle in biome ice plains. See this? Isle in biome ice plains. That tells us we have to actually go back to a worldconfig.ini file and find ice plains. Now that is actually registered in the biome group ice biomes. You won't find ice plains in the normal biomes group because the authors of the Biome Bundle have adhered to the bugs in vanilla Minecraft. I believe this bug has been fixed, and if you remove the ice biomes group, you will still get a functioning world. So we're going to do that, and we're going to change Snowy Mesa to be the only biome. Is that going to be boring? Let's find out. We're going to save our file and upload it. We're not going to change any of the other isle biomes, border biomes, or custom biomes yet, because that's just asking for trouble, and I'm going to show you why. Alright, so we're in our Snowy Mesa world now. You can see that we have succeeded in removing the surrounding ice plains that this was only supposed to occur within, and now this biome file is filling the world. So your snowymesa.bc is a file within the folder that composes the Biome Bundle, and it's a perfectly qualified biome. It has all the settings, as does every .bc file in that folder, that are required to make a fully qualified biome. So it doesn't have to be a border just because it's used as a border. It doesn't have to be an island just because it's used as an island. Specifying that it can be will influence those other biomes to use it that way, but the generator would use it just the way a normal biome is used if it's specified the way we did. And you can go back to check that out again. So let's take a look at a command that will help us make sense of it all. OTG biome. You see how we're in Icy Mountain Peak 1 biome? That name didn't come up earlier. I took a quick inventory of all the biomes that had Snowy Mesa in the file name, but that did not reveal to us the full contents of our world. And once again, if you're editing files, you're going to need to know what you're editing. So let's take a look at our notepad. Here we have a text search up on screen, and you'll see what I'm about to search for. Isle in biome, colon space, period asterisk Snowy Mesa. Now I have use regular expressions selected. What does that mean? It means that the dot and the asterisk are going to have special meaning. These are special characters in a regular expression. The dot means this will match, it will positively match any letter, number, symbol, anything that doesn't have a special regex meaning, regular expression. The star does have a special regex meaning. It will match 0 or more times the previous selector. So it means that I don't care what comes in between Snowy Mesa or Island Biome, show it to me, right? That's what you want, because look at this file. IcyMountainPeak1.bc is the file that OTG's biome function just told us to go look at. And it says Island Biome, Icy Mountains, Snowy Mesa Rocks, Snowy Mesa Forest, and Glacier. So we do see that it hits positive on 3 of the biomes we already have in our world. Snowy Mesa, which also has isle biomes of Snowy Mesa Rocks and Snowy Mesa Forest, and all 3 of those have isle biomes of Icy Mountains Peak 1, which we didn't know in the first place. So if we had done this search, we would get Icy Mountain Peak 1 and 2, Ice Wall, Snowy Mesa Forest, and Snowy Mesa Rocks. So because we are geniuses, we're going to start a list. Icy Mountain Peak, a properly spelled list. Icy Mountain Peak 2, Ice Wall, Icy Mountain Peak 1. And you are smarter than me. I'm just a regular genius. You're a super genius. So you're going to open up Excel and do this like you know you should. I am going to do this the fast way so I don't waste your life. Okay, so the point is we're keeping track of it. Let's do another search. Let's do, oh, I don't know. You might think, well, I should do the search for all the other biomes I included in my, for example, Snowy Mesa Forest and Snowy Mesa Rocks. What if Icy Mountain Peak 1 has its own biomes, isle biomes? We can read the file itself and see that it is an isle of another biome, but where does the file specify which biomes it uses as isles? It doesn't. They specify, like it did. So we actually have to go find this text in another folder that references this one. How do we do that? Same way. Let's do another search. And we'll try Icy Mountain Peak 1. Now we're going to go back to our list. We already know we have Snowy Mesa in there. This is going to be a list of every biome file in our world, so we know which ones we need, which ones we don't, which ones we benefit from modifying, and which ones are just wasting our time. We're going to compose a list of files that build our snow world. We're basically making Hoth, right? Okay, yeah, let's say that. And we have already searched which biomes are isles of Snowy Mesa, so we're going to mark that with an asterisk for our own sake, and we're about to search Icy Mountain Peak 1, so we will also mark that with an asterisk so that we can get through this and not lose our minds. And yeah, search. There are no results, so Icy Mountain Peak 1 does not have any isle biomes. Let's do a new search. Icy Mountain Peak 2 doesn't have any isle biomes. Let's go back and mark that one as searched. We're done there. Let's look for Snowy Mesa Forest. Ah, okay. So we already know that Icy Mountain Peak 1.bc does appear to be the only file that occurs as an isle in Snowy Mesa Forest. So we're gaining some certainty now. We're going to search for Snowy Mesa Rocks, and we know that we'll find the Icy Mountain 1. And we find Icy Mountain Peak 2 as well. So, do we already have that in our list? We do. Let's take a look at Ice Wall, and we're nearly finished. And it's nice that this text generator also, or text editor also, keeps a list of our search history, which preserves our sanity. Ice Wall. This biome does not have any islands. There are no files which contain the combination of words island, biome, ice wall in a single line. At least not in this folder, and they're all in this folder. So we've searched all of these. Yeah, we have. So now, we have a full list of all the .bc files we're not allowed to remove before our world turns into one big ocean. If we do remove any of these files from our folder, our worlds/biome bundle/world biomes folder, we're fucked. You can't load it unless you have all the files in place that it needs. Even if it doesn't need them yet, it's going to figure out that it's broken and it'll break. So that's good. You do see some things that aren't going to come up. You see this is an isle in a biome glacier. Not having the glacier file doesn't mean we're going to run into a problem. It's never going to query that. We drill down through the files. So let's take a look now at the file structure. I'm going to go back into Biome Bundle, the actual folder here. Alright, here we are in the top level of the Biome Bundle. We are in the World Objects folder now. We haven't been here yet because it's very, very complex. And its role in world generation is to populate the biome with a lot of interesting objects, some dungeons too. For example, temples, sprawling dungeons underground. Some of them occur above ground too. There's literally dozens and dozens. So we do have trees, caves, lakes, some rocks, a variety of plants, and of course all the buildings go in here, the structures folder. Now, we're not going to delve any deeper into it yet because really these folders have no semblance. A lot of things are not in the places you'd expect them to be, and that's okay because these folders, they're not relevant in their structure to how biomes query BO3 files. Now, what are BO3 files? Those compose the objects in the World Objects folder. They're a unique file format to Open Terrain Generator, and if you want to learn how to write them, there is a wiki for the Open Terrain Generator itself. This tutorial will be focusing specifically on the Biome Bundle and how to manipulate it for your world, so I will not go into that yet. But how do you encounter these files? How do you know which ones are relevant to your world? Because if you try and edit them all, you're going to waste months of time that you won't get anything out of, provided you're not using them all in your world. So we'll scroll down to the resource queue in snowymesa.bc, a file we are using in our world. And we'll see that by virtue of having this file in our world, we will already be querying Dungeon Start, Snowy Mesa Bear Cave, and all of the objects in the custom object call here. You can see a number of cave pockets. I believe there are 17. Now, these aren't the only ones, of course. You remember we do have icewall.bc, icy mountain peak1.bc, peak 2, Snowy Mesa Edge, Snowy Mesa Forest, and Snowy Mesa Rocks. Believe it or not, we also have some ocean biomes, river biomes that I didn't mention earlier, just to throw you. And you have to check all of the resource queues in every file, be it a biome, border, edge, river, or ocean. So, and the ocean has isles too. If it's a frozen ocean, Ice Wall will be an island within it. As you can see here, it's an island biome, frozen ocean. So you got to be extra careful, keep your wits about you, and make a list. Check it twice. So once you do have a second list, not just for the biomes, but for the objects within every one of those biomes, you're ready to start drilling down into the directories. Now, for example, let's go get Dungeon Start. Now, this refers to a file name. It would naturally end in BO3, and for today's purposes, I'm just going to tell you it goes in structures. I seem to have insert enabled. /dungeon/dng start. So that's the actual path to the file in reality, and it does end in .bo3. In these files, none of that matters, which is very important to remember, because if you're writing your own BO3 files, they cannot conflict with any other file name that occurs anywhere below the World Objects folder. It doesn't matter what subdirectory it's in, that is all one common namespace. And the only purpose directory structure serves under the World Objects folder is for your own mental organization. The plugin is going to treat them all like they're in one directory, so make sure that none of these names ever conflict. But let's take a look at Dungeon Start. How will we find that? We'll have to do a file search. Fortunately, the name of the file was just revealed to us, so let's search from the top level directory, World Objects, for dngstart.bo3. And there we go. It tells us right away where it is. So we're going to actually go there, and to avoid some glitches I have experienced from streaming, I'm just going to take my long way around. And here we are, dungeonstart.bo3. So let's open that up in our text editor. I already have it open over here. And you see how it has some settings that make it a bit different from a schematic file. They're very similar but also different. A BO3 file is like a schematic, which has extra data that Open Terrain Generator knows how to read. And this will control what chunks it spawns in and according to what rules, what percentage can be sticking out. For example, I like hobbit holes to appear in the sides of cliffs in the highlands, which means that I have to create a second hobbit hole that has different spawning rules so I don't have a bunch of dirt sticking out the side of the cliff. I just want the door to be on the side. So I had to really finagle with that, and I had to save it as a different BO3 file with a different file name, even though I put it in a different folder. So we're going to move down through here and take a look, not too in detail because that's more of an Open Terrain Generator wiki subject. We're going to focus on the Biome Bundle specifically, but look at how many if this is your first BO3 file, just expect there to be a lot to work with. This particular one is 5,258 lines, and at the bottom it links to more. There are 5 branches. You're always going to get a DNG start -1. That's a guaranteed. It competes with nothing in its weighted branch. And then there's one of these two, one of these two, one of these two, and one of these two. So you're going to get 5 more branches guaranteed, and maybe more from that. If it happens to select one that has further branches, you could go on for quite a while. How long? Well, let's see. The maximum branch depth on this particular structure is 20. So you could have a branch within a branch within a branch ad nauseum, repeat that up to 20 times, and you get the idea. It goes crazy. For today's purposes, we are just going to find a chest, because I assume most map makers are most interested in just editing the loot tables. Now, a moment ago you saw a search I performed, which is very handy to have. You see here, I did caret symbol, capital R, capital B, open bracket, period, asterisk, capital chest, period, asterisk, bracket. And what that means is it's a regular expression. So this is going to help you, and I suggest you keep a copy of that. I'll leave a copy of it in the description if you need to come back for it. That's going to help you find all of the chests in any of the files you search that for. So you can search the whole world objects directory just with that and get every single chest in the Biome Bundle. But you'll have to take the steps I showed you in a moment ago to know which ones are relevant to the biomes you've selected to include. So go through your world like I did earlier for all the different biomes. Repeat that process for the rivers and the edge biomes and isle biomes. And do the same thing for the oceans you've chosen according to your worldconfig.ini. This has frozen oceans false, but because we have only chosen a snowy biome, I would actually go back and enable the frozen ocean and then edit the frozen ocean.bc as opposed to the ocean.bc. So it gets crazy. Repeat that on slow-mo if you really need to, because you'll figure it out yourself, don't worry. But here is where you actually edit the NBT. And you can see that because dng e4-3.bo3 is in the dungeons folder, you see it going up one directory and up another directory so that it can go down to the NBT directory. Now, let's take another look at our files so we understand what we just said. Here's the file we're reading, or one of them. It's going up a directory to dungeon, up a directory to structures, down a directory to NBT, and then again into chests, and is finding the NBT file here. You can edit these with a wide variety of programs. Some of them run in Windows, some of them run as plugins in Minecraft, like NBT Explorer and NBT Editor respectively. I recommend them both. But that's how you'll actually find the dungeon files and the chest files that are going to be in your world. So if you want to do any custom map making, go and look at my tutorial on loot tables, and I show you everything you need to know to start doing those for 1.12 and 1.13. It's mostly the same, but I'll point out how it's different. So what we're going to do now is we're actually going to go into the biome config itself and cut the rest of the data out that we don't need, finalize our world, and we'll do that in a moment. Alright, so we're back in the main worldconfig.ini file for our Biome Bundle world. And what do I mean by finalizing the world? Well, I want to cut the junk out. I want to make sure that as the server is loaded, the plugin doesn't load a million biomes that it's not going to need or ever use. And I want to make sure that as the players go between the worlds and encounter those biomes, that I take an extra step in a moment and remove these structures and all of the extra BO3 files that they're never going to see. Just cut back on everything and make sure that not only is the server load reduced and the overall RAM usage reduced, but that I also save CPU usage by eliminating unnecessary garbage collection. So again, we're touching on some advanced subjects that I really hope you go and learn as much as you can about. I've already gotten started here with some of the custom biomes that we're still going to need to keep. I'm going to try and get these lists as short as possible. And that shouldn't be hard because we're only using a few of these, right? So I've already got the ones we know about in there, but earlier I neglected to mention that you need to keep registered not just the isle biomes, but the river biomes, edge biomes, and the oceans. Now, since we did make a very, very cold world, kind of going for a Hoth thing here, we're going to turn frozen ocean back to true instead of false. You can see I'm one step ahead of us here. I have done that. By default, it was false. And frozen ocean, now, that's a biome. So we're going to make sure that it is, first we're going to check the original custom biomes. And where was frozen ocean registered? Well, we are discovering here that by golly it's not registered anywhere. See that? We don't register the frozen ocean, but we do register are any isle biomes within it. So we're going to do our text search, and let's do a new search. We're going to look for isle in biome, anything in between, frozen ocean. And it looks like the ice wall, which we already have, is the isle and biome frozen ocean. What about the border biome? Biome is border frozen ocean. Well, look at that. We have a cold beach biome. Now, where does that occur already in our world config? Looks like it's not registered in the original block. It's not registered in custom biomes. The beaches, similarly to the rivers, except for River Enchanted Forest, that one's unique. You'll know when you see it. The beaches are registered only as border biomes down here. Now we have that in there, and we're going to keep that. So we know that we use Cold Beach as a border biome, and we also know that we use Snowy Mesa Edge as a border biome too. We don't have any of these other ones, believe it or not. We don't need any of that. So we have Snowy Mesa Edge right up here, Cold Beach, and that's it. Isle biomes. We have Ice Wall, Icy Mountain Peak 1, Icy Mountain Peak 2, Snowy Mesa Forest. Okay, so where do we find those? Well, let's not try and cut anything out of a list that large. Let's start making another one. We'll go Ice Wall, and you don't need the ID numbers in this one, so this is much easier. You can just write this one yourself. Icy Mountain Peak 1, Icy Mountain Peak 2, and it's important to remember which ones have spaces between them and which ones don't. You can see Cold Taiga, Tropical Savanna, Rainforest Plateau, they have spaces in between them, but some like Drylands Isle and High Cliffs Thicket do not. So it's really haphazard with this one. You gotta, pardon me, be a little careful about that. So again, we have Ice Wall, Icy Mountain Peak 1, Icy Mountain Peak 2, Snowy Mesa Forest. And you may recall that if we open the Snowy Mesa biome itself, we will see that it is an isle biome in the ice plains. We don't need to remove that line of text. We already removed the ice plains. But that does not mean we have to register Snowy Mesa as an isle biome. We're not using it that way, so don't get confused. And what else are we using as an isle biome? Ice Wall is used in both Snowy Mesa rocks and frozen ocean, so you know what, that's really it. Those are the only isle biomes we use. Look how much shorter this file got, eh? You want to be careful when doing this though. Let me show you another search we're going to do here. This search is a little more advanced. It's a regular expression. It is biome is border, and then anything in between, and then a match to either Snowy Mesa, Ice Wall, or Icy Mountain Peak. Now, these text strings match the first part of the text string, but if it happens to say Snowy Mesa Forest or Snowy Mesa Edge, this will still match it. If it happens to say Icy Mountain Peak 1 or 2, this will still match it. And these pipe characters, you do, it's the character above your enter key if you hold shift, mean or. So while they're in brackets, we're searching for this or this or this. And we'll do that search and find that the only border biome between any of this is Snowy Mesa Edge on the Snowy Mesa. Now, if we had included frozen ocean in that list, we would have had a second result for Cold Beach. but we don't need to include Cold Beach anywhere but where it's already included. And it's important to spell these properly. We're good. So those are our only isle biomes. Those are our only border biomes. And I think these are our only biomes. You don't need to register frozen ocean or ocean. And, well, it's just hard to believe we're done. So we're going to go in, delete all of this, and see how our world renders. But are we really finished? Maybe we should actually delete some files off of the server. It's getting kind of bloated, right? So before we do that, let's find out which ones we need. We are going to do another search. And this time, we're going to run a new search. We're going to search all of the world biomes. And we're going to go for custom structure with anything in between, like a regular expression. And, oh, don't forget, these brackets, they have a special meaning, just like the period and the asterisk do in regular expressions. So we have to backslash them, or escape them, to tell the regular expression parser that we actually do mean backslashes, or that we actually do mean brackets. So now we'll search, and we'll get too many results. What I really should have done is search all of the open documents that we have. We have only the relevant biomes to our world open right now in our text editor, and that's really a much better use of our time. So let's try that instead. And we have, okay, custom structure, Dungeon Start and Snowy Mesa Bear Cave. We would add those to our Excel list of structures. This one had none. This biome had gravel ore. This biome had gravel ore, T1 of course, it's important. Dungeon Start, Snowy Mesa Bear Cave, nothing, and nothing. You can safely delete everything in the structures or objects folder except for files with those names or files required by those. So the branches, right? So using what I showed you earlier, you can actually cut a lot of file size out of Biome Bundle, speed your world's load time, speed your server's start and restart time, increase your CPU efficiency for the garbage collection you're performing, and reduce your overall RAM usage, enabling more worlds. So it's better to try and not load 7 or 8 Biome Bundles when you're only using 3 or 4% of each. It makes no sense, right? Or you can put all of the objects into the global biomes and global worlds folder, global objects folders, and just be very careful that you don't have any conflicts with the BO3 names. So in a moment we're going to go in and take a look and make sure everything's still working. Alright, so we're back in our game now. What we're going to do to make sure that our change is carried over is, since we are using Multiverse, we're going to issue our deletion command for the World Biome Bundle and confirm. World Biome Bundle was deleted. Now I always do recommend before you go and start creating and deleting a world over and over and over, you might end up finding yourself teleporting to worlds that are more important. And if you get those commands mixed up and don't realize it, and I've gotten to the point where I was ready to hit enter on confirm before realizing I was in my main world. I know, it's stupid. Don't let it happen to you. Back up first. It's easy to forget what you're doing. It really is. It was close. So we're going to go MV create. Remember, you got to use the folder name Biome Bundle in our case, unless we change it. Normal, since Multiverse hates when you don't do that. And we have to go open terrain generator. I'm sure you read that on the wiki. And we're going to see what happens. Now, if I did anything wrong, we're going to find out pretty quickly that there was an internal error. Also, if I did anything else wrong, we're going to find out not as quickly that we are destined for an ocean. Let's go and see what happens. Will we see the Snowy Mesa or will we see the frozen ocean? Let's find out. So basically, if we removed too many biomes from the biome registration, and you can see the increased loading time, well, you can't really see it on my client, but trust me, it will be faster for you, then we'll actually end up in a completely broken world, and there won't be biomes of any kind. And it looks like we are okay. So I'm going to issue a command to bring myself to a more suitable position. And let's take a fly around. So it looks like we got away with it. We caught everything we needed to catch. And, well, this is quite nice. Got some of the forest that they mentioned earlier. I wasn't seeing that in the last seed. So that would appear to be the Snowy Mesa forest. Now, just to be paranoid, let's do an OTG biome command and make sure it's not just Snowy Mesa forest. Very good. Okay. So I hope this was a successful tutorial for you. I'm sorry if it went along a bit slowly or a bit too fast at certain points. There's some material I want to cover, and I want to emphasize how much detail there really is. Once you're finished with me, you can go really, really, really crazy, and you can build anything MC Pittman or Lord Smellypants built in the Biome Bundle and more. If you become more familiar with the settings Open Terrain Generator offers, you can outdo them. Anyway, my name is Smelly Onion Man. I hope this was enjoyable, and I look forward to showing you another tutorial very soon. Cheers.